people of Scotland collectively are going to have to bear with, because there's no, we're all going to have to come together to make this work. So what are the things, in your opinion, that we're going to have to work through or bear with or cost or whatever else? Not the numbers or things, but just your opinion.
Shawnee, Mr. Shawnee, go first.
The question is, firstly, what sort of things are the people of Scotland going to have to work through in an independent Scotland?
What would you want to?
What would you like to see happen first?
I'll give you an example of possible obstruction from Westminster, as the tenants go out the plan.
Do you want to think about it, Shawnee?
Yeah, you do want to the whole.
I mean, I think one of the big challenges that we've got at the moment is the austerity measures that have been introduced over the last couple of years and the welfare reforms. I mean, I had a woman in my surgery last week who has been found fit for work by Atos, but the job centre won't let her sign on because she's clearly not fit for work. Her GP doesn't think she's fit for work. She doesn't think she's fit for work. I don't think she's fit for work. She's currently living on £85 a month. She is dependent on food parcels from the food bank that one of the local churches is running. And, one of the first things we need to do after independence is put an absolute halt to that kind of destitution. We need to stop the implementation of universal credit and the personal independence payments, because it's driving people into poverty who are really people who need our support. We need to do some immediate things like stopping the bedroom tax and revising the sanctions regime. However, the long-term thing that we need to work through is how we do build a welfare system for the 21st century, fit for the 21st century. And that's not something we can do overnight. So that's a good example of something that we're going to have to work through and will be a big challenge for us over the next 5 years or so. But there are some things that we could do just immediately that would make a huge difference to people's lives.
And I suppose the thing, as I'm the oldest member of the panel, I'm actually more than 4 times her age. Isn't that worrying? Substantially more than 4 times her age. The Registrar General 2 years ago, on the figures he published, said that I've got 16 years of life left. 9 years of relatively good quality of life and 7 years of misery following that. Now, I don't feel terribly happy about that. But I'm already substantially older than the average age at death of men in the poorest areas of Glasgow. Substantially older than them. And I think the real test of whether we are successful or not as an independent country is whether in 20 years' time my successor in office, whatever political party they may be, whatever meeting they may be at, is able to say we've started to narrow that gap. We won't close that gap in 20 years because it's a long-term project, but started to close that gap. If we don't do that, then we have failed. That is the thing that I would measure it by. That other people, in Glasgow you've got people living 3 miles apart who have life expectancies the better part of 20 years apart. And that is a society that just repels me. Just utterly repels me. So that's what I would want to fix. And you've got to start. It's kind of like Napoleon was marching across Europe with his troops. And my great-great-great-grandfather fought in the Napoleonic Wars, by the way. That's another story. He was marching across Europe and the sun was beating down. And he said to his generals, I need poplar trees planted outside all the military roads of Europe to keep the sun off my soldiers' heads. So they arrive at the battle fresh and ready to go. And the generals turned to Napoleon and said, but it will be 30 years before they're tall enough, Napoleon. And Napoleon said, there's no time to waste. And that's where we are with dealing with this.
My answer is, you're quite right. Not everything's going to be rosy in the garden afterwards, and no one's pretending that. We're going to fall on our face on a few things, you know, we're going to make some mistakes, but at least it's all in our own hands. I want to turn your question round and say, what's the best thing that will happen? And the best thing that I think will happen is that the people in Scotland will have a lot more confidence. And I know in my business that people are capable of doing a lot more than they think they are. And I always take on young people and try and promote them quickly to give them confidence. And it works amazing. There's so much more in people than they think they are. I started my business when I was 22 and I first expanded it and employed 3 people when I was 25. And that's when people started telling me, you can't do this and you can't do that. And they try and knock your confidence all the time. But you just have to go and do it. And today I've got over 1,000 people working on my projects. If I'd listened to the folk that say, you cannot do this and you cannot do that, and now I'm getting that the same type of people are telling us we can't run our own country. Of course we can. Every other, look at Denmark, there's all countries in the world run their own country. Of course, are we genetically incapable of running our own country and making a success of it? Of course we're not. So I think confidence is the main thing that'll come, and I think that'll come very quickly after a yes vote. Within months, people will get behind it and say, right, we've decided to do this, let's go for it and do it. And unless Shawnee wants to say something, she does. Fantastic.
Well, I'd like to see more invested into the people of Scotland, especially for young people, so that we can create more jobs in industry, just so that people have more options, because I feel that some people think and feel like they're trapped and they have to go down one route because of the lack of options, and I'd like to guarantee that university will always be how it is in Scotland, because I know for a fact that I wouldn't be planning to go to university at a cost of £9,000 a year.
I think on that note we're going to end it, and if you would like to speak to Eilidh privately
I'm
afterwards.
happy to speak to people afterwards over tea if there's any other questions or follow-ups.
Yeah, so we'll break for a cup of tea. Can I just ask for a round of applause for our speakers? Thanks very much for coming, appreciate you coming, and remember to vote yes.